Welcome to Mamamia Out Loud. It's what women are actually talking about on Wednesday, the 15th of October. My name is Holly Wainwright.
My name is Amelia Lester.
And I am Jessie Stevens.
And here's what's made our agenda for today.
A comedian hurt my feelings recently, and that got me thinking about what is okay and not okay to make fun of.
Plus, Selena Gomez posted a behind-the-scenes video from her wedding. It was actually filmed by Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift accidentally revealed something that Selena didn't want us to see.
She wouldn't be happy.
The internet is not happy with what they saw.
But first, we can't go on without discussing a little thing that broke the internet briefly overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend, Kim Kardashian, she's not your friend. She's my friend. I'm claiming her. The woman who really knows how to make money. Her brand Skims launched something called the Ultimate Bush Thong. And if you're like, what do those words mean? I think if you think about it for another second, you've probably got it in your head.
Is it a Steve Irwin-inspired flip-flop?
Like khaki-ish.
The really thick, like spider-proof sole and maybe like
some
mosquito
leaves.
repellent in it and stuff. It's not that. It's not the ultimate bush thong in an Australian sense, although that's genius. It is a teeny tiny mesh G-string that comes in 7 different shades and textures that basically is a merkin. So the front part, the little triangle part, has fake pubic hair on it, to put no finer
Hand
point
wash
on it.
only, Holly. Hand wash only.
Hand wash only. And it comes in all kinds of different shades. You can have straight, you can have curly, you can have full, you can have neat. Like, it's absolutely nuts. And although, as one commenter pointed out, I could grow one of these myself in 48 hours, they have sold out at $70 a pop. Now, proving once again that Kim and her mates, Emma Grede and co, are marketing geniuses, but also maybe that the bush is back. I don't know. Jessie, what's your take on why we all went crazy for that? Well, we didn't. I don't know. Where did you buy one?
I tried, but it was all sold out. And I couldn't decide between the red curly and the red straight. And I was kind of glad that it all sold out because I didn't like the image of a white haired G-string just hanging in a warehouse, just not knowing, going into landfill. Like, I like that they've been used.
That nobody would have bought the white one?
There was a white straight one that made me a bit sad, to be completely honest.
Sorry, when we keep talking about them being sold out, do we think that there were any, or have they just declared this? Is it like Megan's Jams, like were there 10?
I think there might have been 10. I don't think that they had an abundance of stock.
Well, who knows, right? Because the thing that we do know about Skims, because Emma Grede, who is, one of the geniuses behind the brand, she has talked about this openly. She said they do something called stunt releasing, and they did it with the nipple bra, where they basically will release a product that will get everybody talking for a hot minute, like we're doing now and the internet is doing right now. And really it just drives people to the website to buy other stuff. What is particularly interesting, though, about the bush thong is when she was talking about the nipple bra, she said the nipple bra was designed to sell. Look at me holding my nipples while I'm doing this. Is not appropriate. The nipple bra was kind of to get you to buy a T-shirt, to get you to buy a baby tee, because the idea of those baby tees in Kardashian kind of style is it would look cute if your nipples were showing through them, whatever.
I have seen more nipples since that nipple bra came out. I have.
So it was a leader. It was a leader to get. So what is the mesh? What is the bushy thong trying to get us to buy?
Let's not forget that 2025 was declared by Vogue as the year of the bush. It was. There's been runway.
I had forgotten that, which is crazy.
Amelia, stay up to date. Full bush in a bikini, trending on TikTok, has been for the US summer. Yep. And then there was runway shows 24, 25 that season where the runway models, I think they were merkins, but you could see kind of the outline of pubic hair. And what's really in at the moment is that naked dress where you can see just the underwear underneath. I can see a world in which you're wearing a merkin underneath. I can.
Yes. And also I was thinking about, like, those satin bias cut skirts that everybody's wearing at the moment?
Yes.
Is that if you were wearing one of these underneath it, there'd just be like a rippling suggestion of your pubic hair.
A textured suggestion.
And that might be hot for some people,
I can see Mia doing it in 5 minutes.
Oh, my God, no.
She, you wonder why it sold out. You know who bought it in every colour? Because she doesn't know if she feels like curly or straight.
I still want a flip-flop with mosquito mesh over the top of it.
Exactly.
They want you to buy lots of them, even if they've only got 10. They say match, don't match, switch it up at midday so you can change the colour of your bush throughout the day. Very helpful, obviously.
You might want a curl for the evening. We recorded a subscriber episode yesterday about wedding etiquette.
Oh, we did.
Which was very, very juicy. But I kind of wish that before we recorded that, we knew more about Selena Gomez's wedding. Because we've been a little bit late to this story, but I've only just got across it this morning. And I feel as though it raises some thorny ethical questions, which we like to explore on this show.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
So Selena Gomez, obviously I know all about who Selena Gomez is. Kinda. As in, she's the most followed woman on Instagram.
Correct.
Which I don't really understand why that is. But she is a big, 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 big deal. Music, acting, being Taylor Swift's best friend.
Yeah, and it's the evolution, right? She was a Disney star, and that's where she got really famous. That's why she's got the young people following. And then she went into Only Murders in the Building, and then that's where she is now. And she's had this incredible singing career, best mates with Taylor, blah blah blah.
And Rare Beauty, which has made her $1 billion.
Oh
Of
yes,
course.
that's right.
That's
of course.
small matter.
Yeah. So these are some of the questions that her wedding raises. Should you vape at your wedding? Should you vape at your wedding if your friend literally donated one of her kidneys to you? And should you have invited that friend who gave you a significant organ to your wedding? Should she
You're
have
so
come?
right. These are good etiquette
I
questions.
know. They're really hard and Selena needs some help. So today, Selena is probably texting her friend Taylor Swift being like, was I in the wrong? They're definitely going back and forth and they're texting about a woman's right to vape. But we're going to go back to the beginning. So we've established who Selena Gomez is, and then a few weeks ago, she gets married. She's been drip feeding us content, as every good bride does.
Yeah.
And then I think that she was trying to do a bit of a shout out to Taylor Swift, which now means I have more wedding content to drop.
Well, because for the first week, there was no Taylor in any of the pictures.
Yeah.
It's quite a good strategy. She was like, having my best friend isn't going to, completely take over my day. But she was definitely there, everybody. You just haven't seen her yet.
Yes.
And then to coincide with the album launch.
She shared a video that Taylor Swift herself had taken. And you can see that the moment the camera pans to Selena, she tries to hide something in her hand, which is very clearly a vape. Now,
I have something to interrupt with.
yeah.
An important piece of advice if you're getting married or if you're planning on getting married sometime in the near future. Taylor Swift as videographer at your wedding is a really smart choice, and I'll tell you why. The person who is documenting your wedding, either through photos or through video, must be tall. Think about it.
This is so
That is
true.
They
such a good
must be
point.
tall.
And taller than you.
Taller than you,
Yeah.
which is not hard. Selena's not particularly tall,
Yeah.
and nor is her husband Benny, but Taylor is a tall woman and therefore will take the most flattering video and photos of you at your wedding.
That's why
So,
I never take them.
Good
It's
job,
because
Selena.
it's not kind to my friends. Now, fans are pissed because vaping is not good for your kidneys. And technically, her one kidney belongs to a woman named Francia.
What?
Who donated it to her in 2017.
2017. How old's Selena Gomez-ish?
She's 33.
So she was in
So
her
that was
20s.
8 years ago. Let's go. She was like 25-ish.
Wow. And why did she need a kidney transplant? Or is that none of my business? I suspect it's none of my business, but I still need to know.
No, of course she's told you. She had a lupus flare-up.
Shit.
And now her and Francia were good mates. And then what happened was she needed this kidney. Francia donated the kidney. Then in the aftermath, things got a bit weird. There was unfollowing. There was tension. There was a weird TikTok video where Selena Gomez made a joke about how much alcohol she drinks, and everyone was like, not good for your one kidney.
So basically, by telling everyone she'd had a kidney transplant, she made her health everybody else's business.
Yeah.
And now everybody has a lot of opinions about what she should or shouldn't be doing.
Because remember, she had that documentary years ago, didn't even mention Francia, who gave her her kidney. And then in it as well, she had a line where she said, I've only got one friend in the industry and it's Taylor Swift. Francia commented on that and was like, interesting, ... and then deleted it.
Is Francia as big as Taylor Swift?
No. But she is in the industry, right? So, Holly. Actually, I need to get this on the record too. Francia, giver of the kidney, reportedly not invited. What does it take to get a wedding invite? Holly, do we have to be more secretive about our bad habits when we're vaping into someone else's kidney?
I'm not very good at biology. Am I vaping into a kidney?
Yes, you're vaping
Not
into
that
your
I'm
kidney.
vaping,
Something not good for the kidney. Alcohol probably worse, but she's only got one now, and so does Frances.
This is a cautionary tale about sharing too much of your story, right? And when you're earlier in your career, and certainly when you're Selena Gomez and you're like transitioning from Disney star into lots of other things, and you're going through something really serious, like needing a kidney transplant, and it might seem like going public with it is a good idea.
And she had to postpone work things. She disappeared from Instagram for a while. So she sort of did owe her fans an explanation.
Otherwise, the rumors would have been, we know exactly what they would have been. Drug abuse,
rehab,
eating disorders, all those things that we definitely think that young stars are getting up to. But the problem is that, now she has just ignited the whole internet. And we know that there is nothing that social media likes more in 2025 than a sleuth. Because I've watched this video several times and you have to look very closely to see the vape. Like because very soon she realizes and she just turns her hand to cover it in her hand.
You spotted it though, didn't you?
I did. Well, I didn't until they pointed it out, but she would have, everybody loves to sleuth and then everybody loves to judge and then here we are. Personally, I think she should do what she wants. It's her kidney now. It's like, you gave it to me. Now it's mine.
The story we really want to tell is about the entitlement of celebrities. And people quite love the idea that Selena Gomez, one of the most famous women in the world, somehow hoodwinked another woman into giving her a kidney and then dropped her the second she got it. Like, it is the most ridiculous story that kind of does make you laugh because it brings up questions of what you owe someone and the idea that you are so entitled that you would take someone's organ and then pillage it is kind of ridiculous. Amelia, what do you make of it?
Do you remember Bad Art Friend?
Yeah.
Yes.
This was an internet phenomenon back in 2021, which gets at the fact that we are all really weird about kidney donations. So what happened in this story, there were two people who were friends on Facebook, but probably not really friends in real life, both women, both writers. One of them donated a kidney to a stranger and started posting a lot on Facebook about what a wonderful person she was for giving this kidney to a stranger. The other person, the other woman, would never like the posts. She never commented on the post. She never said, "You're a wonderful person. Well done, you." And in the end, this led to a confrontation between the two women where the kidney donor said, "Why did you never acknowledge that I did this amazing thing?" And then the other woman thought that was kind of ridiculous and went on to write a very damning story about someone who donates a kidney and then goes around asking everyone to congratulate her for doing it.
Oh, I've forgotten about that glorious moment.
There's a name for these people who do these extremely generous things, and that name is an extreme altruist. And people have identified that we all feel weird about extreme altruists. We should feel great about them because they're doing great things for other people.
Yeah.
But they really make us feel bad. So people who donate kidneys and do amazing things for other people often receive hostility and suspicion from people. And that's because they're making us feel bad about ourselves.
About the fact that we wouldn't give our kidney unless we were going to get absolute concrete proof that kidney was going to A, live the rest of its life in a beautiful fancy mansion, and B, be extremely well treated at all times. Green juice only.
But that is not to say that those people are always above board in how they talk about what they've done. And we don't know what went on behind the scenes here between Selena and her friend who donated her the kidney. A lot of the times, like for instance with Bad Art Friend, what happened was this woman who donated her kidney became objectively insufferable. She never stopped talking about it. She then told the New York Times that the reason why she gave a kidney to a stranger is because she had a very isolated childhood and she wanted to build bridges and make connections in her life. And that's why she did this extraordinary thing. But the story picked up traction because there was something really needy about her and she kept wanting approval from people for this act. And, you know, this is speculation, but I wonder if between Selena and her friend, that dynamic became unsustainable. The friend was like, you shouldn't be eating that mayonnaise-covered sandwich.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be eating fast food. You shouldn't be drinking champagne, which there were also photos of Selena drinking champagne at her wedding too in a coupe. So maybe she just couldn't deal with this friend judging her every move.
Jessie, you know more about this story maybe than anyone. Does that track in the TikTok of this? Has the kidney donating friend been talking heaps about it or not?
She's kind of retreated a little bit, although...
But she did write interesting on that post.
She wrote interesting on that post. She unfollowed Selena Gomez and then
she commented
followed
on
her
the
again.
vape?
She said from the beginning that the doctor told her it was a donation, and when you donate $1, you don't walk around asking that person who you gave the $1 to for the $1 back. Like she kind of understands that. But there is some interesting tidbits that she did an interview afterwards where she said that she had to write a will before she did it. And a social worker said this is really emotionally difficult because when you give someone your kidney, you watch them almost get better while your body suffers.
Wow.
Because you are really
ill.
Yeah. She had post-surgery depression. She had to adjust to all of that. She was only in her mid-20s herself. I think it gives way to all of these complex moral questions about what you owe someone who saves your life. Because she did save her life. And there have been moments where Selena Gomez has won an award and she stood on stage and she has said, I owe this to the woman who saved my life. But does she have to do that
for the rest of
her life and do an appreciation post scheduled every 6 months, or can she just kind of drop it?
I do think she should have invited her to the wedding.
You do?
I do. A comedian hurt my feelings recently.
Oh,
Can
Amelia.
I tell you what happened?
Yes.
So my greatest fear in life is audience participation.
Oh, me too.
Same.
Greatest fear.
What is it? Because we're all happy to stand on stage, but I would never ask a question and I would never put my hand up to go, I'll go on stage and be a volunteer. The bravery involved in that.
You know who would?
Yes.
Brent.
Oh, he would.
He loves it. He goes to any comedy show and stuff pretty much with a T-shirt like, pick me, pick me. Anyway, but I can acknowledge that most of us certainly are like,
terrified.
We're with you, Amelia.
It's why I'm scared of stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
But my partner enjoys a bit of stand-up comedy. And he recently was in Los Angeles and he went to the world-famous Comedy Store in West Hollywood, which is in fact world-famous. And everyone has performed there. On the night he was there, Mark Maron and Ali Wong did sets. Wow. No biggie.
Wow.
And then at the very end of the night, a man named Don Barris stood up. He is Jimmy Kimmel's warm-up act on his TV show, but I'd never heard of him before. He stood up, was doing a bit of crowd work, and he pointed at my partner and said, what was it like to wake up this morning and think, I'm going to put on the ugliest shirt in the world?
Ooh.
So I found out about this not because he called me in tears immediately, which is what I would have done.
Yeah.
I found out about it weeks later when we were getting dressed in the morning and he turns to me and says, what do you think of this shirt? And I said, oh, well, I like it. I gave it to you. And he said, well, a comedian didn't like it, and then told me the story.
So the comedian dissed you because you chose the shirt.
This is why he hurt my feelings. I was devastated. I'm not going to lie. I'm still carrying it around a little bit.
Okay, Amelia, sorry. You have to explain to us what the shirt looked like.
I mean, I think it's a nice shirt.
Okay.
It's one of those like fake rugby jerseys, so it's not like got a name of a team on it, but it's got the buttons at the top.
So like almost like it's got a collar.
Exactly.
Like a white collar and then like a stripe.
White collar.
Yeah.
It's got a sort of, I thought it was a very Iberian influeed color scheme of reds and vibrant yellows, which I thought would really play off my partner's olive skin very nicely.
Yeah.
And look, I know I'm not great at clothes. I don't pretend to be great at clothes, but I had bought that as an act of love, as a gesture of love, and I thought it through. And then to have this comedian shit on my clothing choices, it stung.
That is so funny.
Can I ask if Johnny, your husband,
Yes.
has he worn it since?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
The point of him bringing it up with me was not that it bothered him that the comedian said this. The point of him bringing it up was that it was genuinely confusing to him that a shirt that he quite liked was being described as ugly, because to him, with the confidence of a man who enjoys crowd work, he just thought, oh, that's confusing. I like this shirt. That comedian doesn't like it.
The thing that's so great about that story, and maybe, let's be generous, maybe the comedian just does that gag every night and just picks anyone. And he's not really thinking
but he's
very
still
hard
got to
about
pick
it.
someone.
Well, it's true. And you don't want to be that person. But as you said, for how you would react, and I would react the same, for most women I know, they could never wear that shirt again. Like
Never.
that shirt
Burn
has
it.
now been tainted. What other people think of your clothes says something about your psyche, your taste levels, your past, everything.
When he asked me what I thought of the shirt and I said I like it, and then he told me the story, he then proceeded to wear the shirt that day.
I think I've got a bit of Johnny. I reckon I reckon if I looked at it and went, I like it, then I think I'd put on the shirt and go about my day.
Because Mia tells you often that she doesn't like your clothes.
Yeah,
and you still wear clothes.
I just go, no one's really thinking that much about me. And if it's making me feel good, then I don't really care.
Mia once told me she didn't like my shirt. It was a short-sleeved linen shirt. And she said that it wasn't a good look on me. And she said that with love, not like this awful comedian, but I never wore the shirt again.
You drove that shirt immediately to Vinny's.
That's actually exactly what I did.
Gave it to them and said, set this free. Don't tell anyone what Mia Friedman said about it. Is it okay to take the piss out of people's clothes? Like, I don't know.
Well, that's what I wanted to bring to you today, because there was an article in the Sydney Morning Herald this morning by Chris Harrison. It was titled, "If You Can Call Me Bald, I Can Call You Fat." And he makes the point that in our very PC world, as he puts it, baldness is still deemed acceptable for ridicule. And he says, why is that? Because it's not like men can control whether or not they're bald. And I wonder if that's the issue, because you can control what clothes you put on. Mm-hmm. You cannot control what is happening on your head with your hair.
No, but...
Is that the line?
That's true. However, and I know how really painful hair loss is for men, like, and women, but more common for men, and a more common side effect of aging. And it can be devastating. You know, it can be absolutely devastating to confidence. But it's true that could be a line. But then in this day and age, and he goes into this, Chris Harrison, in this article, yes, the baldness is happening, but you do have choices about what to do about it. Just as you could say for all of us, but women get this pressure more. The wrinkles are happening, but you now have a whole lot of choices about what to do about them. You know what I mean? So
I think that makes it so much worse.
Yeah, but there's still judgment attached then, because it's kind of like, oh, you don't seem to care that you're going bald, buddy. You know what I mean?
And it's like, maybe I should tell you so that you know that there are treatments that would fix your ugliness.
Yeah, exactly. Like your wrinkles, you don't have to wear those on your face. Have you heard about injections?
There's this social irritation with people who, so the big one of the last week or two has been Rafael Nadal, who is the tennis player, who has been experiencing hair loss since his 20s. Very handsome. And I think early in his career, he had long, luscious hair.
He would look lovely in the rugby shirt, by the way.
Oh, my goodness, it was made for him. And just recently an image has come up of him posing with a fan, smiling, and his hair loss. People have commented and just said, you need to get to Turkey, you need to get those hair transplants. Like, people are being so mean to him. The irony is that reportedly he has had 2 treatments to try and salvage what hair he has left. But people's irritation is like, how can you be so rich and not have this sorted? And if you're not going to sort it, then shave your head.
Yeah, I don't want to look at it.
I don't want to look at it.
You know, it's interesting because when we were talking about, when I first read this article, I thought I would never take the piss out of a balding man. I thought that's a terrible thing to do.
Same.
And then I thought about things I may have said about Princes William and Harry over the years, particularly William, but increasingly Harry, that are ungenerous, because to the point of this that this man is making, that Chris Harrison is making in this article, there is pleasure somehow in mocking a man. Like, Prince William has been copping shit about the fact that his hairline has been receding for a very long time. I think Prince Harry makes a joke about it in his book.
I was about to say.
Yeah. I think he wouldn't be laughing now because he's definitely facing some of the same stuff, but he made a joke about it in his book. Is there's something that's kind of open season and a little bit suddenly, I don't know, do I want to say emasculating? And I definitely, when I think about it, probably have made those jokes about Prince William or a rich and powerful man who's losing his hair, almost like, and I'm not proud of this, almost like, haha, you've got it all but not that. And that is ugly, right? In me, I mean, not in them.
It is.
I don't mean that they're ugly. Oh my God, backtrack. Shush, Polly, shush.
Chris Harrison writes, people assume making fun of the bald guy is harmless, a punchline with no real victim. That's true, by the way. I think that's absolutely true. They think baldness invites less emotional vulnerability than, say, a joke about weight or appearance. But such assumptions ignore the deep personal impact hair loss can have on self-esteem, identity, and even perceptions of aging or virility.
Yeah, I think that's totally a thing. However, I think that the comparison to weight is imperfect.
Yeah, I do too.
I think that when it comes to men and baldness, I think most people know you wouldn't comment. I hope that.
Well, I bet you that men get a lot of, why don't you just shave it? Like a lot of things that are masquerading as, in the same way that they might say you can do something about those wrinkles, Holly, they might say, you should just shave it off. Like people have very strong feelings about that, don't they? Like, why are you holding on to that hair?
I think the difference is if you looked in most boardrooms, if you looked at politicians, if you looked at who is currently leading our country, you'd find examples of men who don't have a lot of hair, right?
So you think it's punching up?
I think it's power. I think that that's why it feels different. That doesn't mean it's okay. And I also thought that there are heaps of examples, like Vin Diesel and Andre Agassi. Joe Rogan is this image of hypermasculinity in the US. He doesn't have any hair. Michael Jordan, Dave Chappelle. Like there are images of powerful men who kind of own it, who are bald. But I also do see how it can be coloured as almost the buffoon. And that's so Homer Simpson was like the guy with no hair, that it's like the suburban dad. And I understand that if you have hang-ups about aging, that can be really confronting to kind of look in the mirror and go, oh my goodness, I'm looking like my father.
Well, and you're making me realise a bit of a phenomenon that I've noticed, which is when you're in a group with a man who is bald, more often than not, he will make a joke drawing attention to it. You've been in a moment like that, right?
But that's quite a female thing usually, where we'll do that. We'll be like, oh, I know I look like this today or whatever.
Well, now I understand why they're doing it. They're doing it because it is actually hurtful to have those jokes made, and yet they're expected to shrug them off. So in a moment, in an effort to gain control over the situation and call it out before anyone else does, that's why they do it.
What about amongst friends, right? So can you I've seen, we've talked about this before, that the joshing and taking the piss culture, which is enormous among certainly Australian men, I would say definitely English men too, who, the sign of love is how much shit you give each other. And it may sting, but that's part of it. And we've said that women, we have a slightly more complicated situation with that because we often know that it's pointed, or we know that our worth, in inverted commas, is more tied to our appearance, so it hurts more. But is it okay within a friend group to take the piss out of each other about aging?
I still wouldn't. My closest male friends, there is no way I would make a joke about them losing their hair. It is too sensitive. I can tell from a mile away that, and maybe it's my age group as well, that the men that I know are in the early stages of it. And this guy says balding is a lot harder than being bald. Like that's a really awkward process. I think any comment about someone's appearance that makes them feel conspicuous and visible, they can joke about it, you can't.
I guess the kind
pregnant bellies. Sorry,
yeah, exactly.
Amelia.
I can say
bellies.
anything I want about how big I am, but I just reckon you don't know how that person is today. You don't know how many comments they've got. I just wouldn't. I think that's a good rule. And this guy was saying he's in meetings where people are joking about, oh, all the lights went off, like something about his bald head and solar panels. Like in the workplace, you just go, drop it.
Yeah, I wonder if the female equivalent is grey hair, because they're both like visible signs of aging on top of your head. And you would never casually point out that a woman had grey hair, even a friend of yours, I don't think. I think we kind of are agreeing that we're not talking about that. But on the punching up thing, Carolina Donahue, who hosts Sentimental Garbage, that podcast, she was talking in the context of Taylor Swift's new album, and Taylor Swift has been criticized for punching down in a song that people have interpreted as a diss track targeting Charlie XCX. She says she doesn't believe in the concept of punching down or punching up in humor. She says that the only real test of whether a joke is okay is if it lands, if it's funny. So I just want to ask, in this case,
I don't buy that, because the question of is if it's funny
could be funny to everyone in the room except the person who just
who was it
it's
funny
a very
to?
Subjective question, because everyone else might laugh, but the person about who, everyone else might think that song's hilarious about Charlie XCX or that the bald joke is great. But if he doesn't.
Well, I guess bringing it back to the shirt incident that inspired this.
Yes.
That's not a very funny joke, I mean.
I don't think it's funny. I really cringe at crowd work for that exact reason, that I just think I do not find anything that embarrasses someone funny. And maybe it's a female thing that I just go, I've had enough experiences where I've felt mocked or made fun of.
Conspicuous.
And I just want to be invisible at a show.
The reason they do it now, I mean, obviously comedians have always done it, but the reason they do it now is because it's the bit you can put on social, because you've got your set and your set's the same every night, mostly, right? So if I go and see Mark Maron, like he's worked out his hour and he can't put that on social because then you're not going to go and see him, but you can put the crowd work bit on social over and over again. So now it's become even more important and they've got to walk that line.
We're going to put a picture of the shirt that I purchased for Johnny on Instagram and you can tell me if I screwed up or not.
I want to leave us with a bit of wisdom today, and it's not my wisdom, but I've stolen it and I am implementing it and I am handing it around like lollies. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
So Amelia, I don't know if you mind me saying this, but so you had something big and important to do last night, right?
I did.
What did you do? Tell us.
I was one of the Boyer lecturers. That's an ABC lecture series about the future of Australia.
That's massive.
No big deal. Just the future of Australia with like all the really big brains.
So where was it?
It was at the ABC studios and Johnny showed up in a polo shirt but not the rugby shirt, which I was relieved by because otherwise Julia Baird, who was hosting it, would have sledged him.
Anyway, we were in the afternoon. Amelia was prepping and I was sitting next to her and I immediately had to pull out my phone to share something with her. I had one of those moments recently when you're like listening to something and I had to pull the car over to make a note on my notes app. It was on a podcast called Wild Card, which is an interview show hosted by this NPR journalist, American, called Rachel Martin. And basically it's like you pull random cards and you answer the questions on it. And this one was with Celine Song. She is a movie director. She is amazing. She made Past Lives, which is one of my favorite films. She also made Materialists, which is not, but still she's very talented. And I think this is relevant whether you are like, you don't have to be doing anything in public and any big shiny performance or whatever, but any conversation or meeting at work or anything that you're nervous about, maybe you're meeting your ex to talk about custody, maybe you're talking to your landlord, maybe you're dealing with a difficult mother-in-law, maybe you've got to do a presentation at work. I think there's lots of places you can use this advice. And what Celine Song then shared was like a mantra, like these 4 lines that she herself had learned from her professor at Columbia or something like that, another big important person. And Celine Song describes them as the 4 rules for anything we have to do as humans, right?
Okay.
I had to immediately put them down. Number 1, show up. Now, I think what they mean by show up, we all know in common parlance now, that means be present, be there, right? Yep. Number 2, pay attention. This is my favorite. Number 3, speak from the heart. And number 4, the hardest, have no expectations. So,
I like that.
I loved it so much because whenever you have to do anything that you're nervous about or you've been thinking about a lot or that activates you in any way, in your mind you always play out and this is how it's going to go and this is the outcome I want and all those things. And if you get that outcome, you feel like you've been successful. And if you don't get that outcome, you feel like you've failed. And in reality, it's very unlikely that you affected whether or not you got that outcome. A whole lot of different things will have affected that. So I love have no expectations, although it's no question the hardest one. And I love pay attention because I think everything from sitting down to do this show every day to having a difficult conversation with my teenager, if I'm listening and I'm really there and I'm paying attention and I'm not thinking in my head, oh, that thing I just said, I shouldn't have said that thing. You know what I mean? Like, then always the outcome is better every single time.
But every one of these was so helpful to me because just take the first one, show up, sounds obvious. Yeah. But what that speaks to is this was a very intimidating thing for me to do, and I had to work through, uncharacteristically for me, some imposter syndrome around it. But show up says you just got to show up.
Yeah.
Someone's going to show up, may as well be you. And I found that really powerful as well.
Speak from the heart's quite hard because I think that that's a vulnerability, you know, like to sort of say, this is how I'm feeling, I guess, or whatever it is. But that also just means be authentic, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got a tip once from a performance psychologist, which was when you feel your brain start to wander, which happens whether you're on stage, sometimes when you're doing a speech, sometimes when you're in an important meeting, like focusing on tiny little things. Like if I'm speaking to you, Holly, like even if you just have to go, look at their eyebrows, look at their blood, like take yourself back into the moment in kind of like minuscule details, that should like reorient you to that moment. But little mantras, they make such a difference, don't they?
They do. So now this is on Notes App on my phone. I welcome you all to
I
put it
love
on a
it.
Notes App in your phone if you want it.
It was really helpful.
And I'm going to see if it's going to change my life. You know, I'm always looking for the thing that's going to change my life.
You
Liz
know the
Gilbert
mantra
over
that's
here.
changed my life? And I say, I felt nerves the other day and I said my mantra, nerves went, excellence over perfection. I say that all the time to myself.
That's it for today's show. Goodbye, Out Louders.
Bye.